and welcome to Loops and Lore with Meg. For today, I am going to be doing my first reading vlog showdown. I am super excited for this series because it's something that I've been wanting to do forever. I just couldn't figure out a way that I could do it to make it, one, a bit more unique to my channel, but also in a way that I'm not trying to read 6-7 books in a week, because that's just not possible for me. I am a little bit of a slower reader and I like to take my time when I'm going through and reading these books. So let me explain what Reading Vlog Showdown is. And it is a series where I'm gonna pick books and go head to head to see which one comes out on top. So each vlog is going to follow like a theme or a challenge or an author exploration or any of those kind of things. And I'm going to pick probably 2 to 3 books in that to then read. And I am going to pick a winner, whichever one is my favorite out of the set, and crochet a granny square to go along with that winner. I'm going to crochet the granny squares similar in the way that I did my Liza Lachlan Moore square, where they're a little bit fancy when compared to my normal book review squares. So that way, when I end up making my sweater at the end of the year, hopefully I get enough this year to do it, you'll see a difference between which one is just a normal book for you and which one is my vlog showdown winners. So I kind of use Liza Lachlan Moore as a way to test that out. So that is the plan for this series, and without further ado, let me introduce the themes for the first Reading Vlog Showdown. With Valentine's Day just around the corner, and I think the plan is for this to come out on Valentine's Day, I thought it'd be great to deep dive into some romance tropes. So I ended up going through it and picking out 3 different romance tropes that I wanted to explore and have fun with. And so I ended up picking friends to lovers, forced proximity, and then like a fake dating. All of those are things that I've enjoyed in the past or want to explore more of, and that kind of thing. And then when I was going through and trying to pick out books, I don't necessarily have to pick out of books that I own. This time I did end up owning all 3, but that's only because when I was looking at the top books within this kind of set of tropes, there was one author that was consistently like in the top 5 of people recommending. And that, of course, is Emily Henry. I have read Beach Read by Emily Henry a couple years ago and really enjoyed it. So I have been collecting her books to read at some point, and I think it is finally the point to go through and catch up on all the books that I own by her. So over the next week, 2 weeks, I'm going to be reading 3 of her books and seeing which one is the best of these 3. So the first one we have is People We Meet on Vacation, and this follows Alex and Poppy, who are 2 like polar opposite best friends who have been vacationing together for years, and apparently they have some sort of falling out and they reunite for one last vacation that I'm guessing is turning out to be a bit more than they expected. So this is the friends to lovers trope that was recommended so many times, and I'm excited to get into this. I do think I'm kind of reading these in the wrong season as far as all of these have a lot of summer vibes. But you know what? I need a little bit of warmth in how awful and miserably cold it has been in Tennessee this year. So I'm looking forward to this one. So that is book number 1. Book number 2 is Happy Place by Emily Henry. And what I think I know about this is that it is about Harriet and Wynne, and they were the perfect couple. They have been together for a while and then they broke up, but they have to go on this vacation that was already planned with all of their friends, and they decide instead of kind of bringing this bad energy into the vacation, they would just fake date while they're there. So that way they can extend out their friends' perceptions for a little bit longer before they have to let everybody know. And I'm guessing that, you know, it resolves in some way, because most of the times that's what these books do, which is another thing that I really love, because you go into them kind of knowing what you're going to end up with. And when that is the case, it's not as hard to read, I guess. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I do think this one is going to be super cute, so I'm excited for that one. And the final one is probably the one I am most excited about, and I'll be honest, I've already started reading, and that is Funny Story by Emily Henry. This is about Daphne, who was engaged to who she thought was the perfect man until that man decides to dump her after his bachelor party to then start dating his best friend that he's had for years, and basically decides that he should have been with her instead. And so Daphne is then forced to be roommates with Miles, who is her ex-fiance's ex. And it's a whole messy, like, forced proximity type of relationship where they are thrown into this weird dynamic because of the fact that their exes decide to date each other and leave her in this town that she knows nothing about. So this one is probably the one I will like the most if I was to guess going into this, but we will see. So going forward, I'll be documenting the highs, the lows, the favorites, the nots, and everything in between. So if you're a fan of romance, this reading vlog is going to be for you. I am looking forward to escaping within these fun relationships. So grab your favorite drink, get cozy, and let's see which one of these wins the reading showdown. Hello, so it is day one of reading for this reading vlog showdown, whatever I end up calling it. I don't know yet, but I decided to start with the highest rated of the 3 Emily Henry books and go from there. And it's also the one I'm probably most excited about, and that is Funny Story by Emily Henry. So the only things that I know about this is that the main character was engaged and something happened to that engagement, and now she's living with someone that she doesn't really know. And so there's a forced proximity trope, which is kind of what I'm reading this for, because it's not one that I've read very often, but it is so popular. So that's the main trope of this book that I'm kind of exploring in this kind of vlog challenge idea. It was really funny when I was like looking up these different tropes that I was thinking about exploring, and then I was like, oh wait, the Emily Henry book I have fulfills that, and it happened for every single one. So I thought it was too like funny of a coincidence to not just pick up these 3 instead of 3 random romances. Because I originally was just gonna do 2 like random romance books that like were the most popular for these like different tropes I was looking up. So it turned into 3 Emily Henrys, which I'm not mad about because I've had these on my shelf for a while and needed to read them. The only one I've read by Emily Henry is Beach Read, and I actually really enjoyed that. It's probably a 3.5, 4 star for me, which is pretty high for just this like contemporary romance. For me, I don't read this genre very often is what I should have said. Anywho, I'm looking forward to this, and I am excited to get back into Emily Henry's like banter. I think she's really good at building out like character dynamics, so I'm hoping that is the case within these. So I'm hoping to get quite a bit of this read. I have to go to my daughter's honor program this morning, and so like I have like little to no time to actually work between now and then. So I'm thinking about just like going and go ahead and getting there early, and I can read while I wait on her program to start and finish. And then that way I can get a few pages in while I have my breakfast and my coffee this morning. So that is the plan, and then I'll be back to work, and I can hopefully listen to audiobook while I work some today. I have found that with like, I just got off reading Eliza Locklemore, and I couldn't read that as much while I was working because it was so like content heavy that I really needed to focus in on everything that was happening. Whereas this, I think I'm going to be able to listen like and digest it easier, if that makes sense. So I think I should be able to listen to this while I work, which is exciting because I love having audiobooks in the background. They just can't be like super epic fantasy world building type of books, because then it's hard to pay attention to and like actually absorb the information, where I think this is going to be perfect. So I'm ready for my 2 weeks of romance to start and see how this all goes.
Wednesday, May 1st, 108 days until I can leave. Some people are natural storytellers. They know how to set the scene, find the right angle, when to pause for dramatic effect, or breeze past inconvenient details. I wouldn't have become a librarian if I didn't love stories, but I've never been great at telling my own. If I had a penny for every time I interrupted my own anecdote to debate whether this actually had happened on a Tuesday, or if it had in fact been Thursday, then I'd have at least 40 cents, and that's way too big a chunk of my life wasted for way too small of a payout. Peter, on the other hand, would have 0 cents and a rapt audience. I especially loved the way he told our story about the day we met.
Good morning. I wanted to update you on where I'm at in Funny Story by Emily Henry. I am almost done. I am adoring this book. It is so cute and exactly what I needed. I didn't realize how like bogged down I was getting, because the last like 3 months I have read the first Mistborn book, I've read Empire of the Vampire, I've read The Lies of Lockamore, I've read some like heavier like dystopian type stuff, and it was just so nice to go into a book that I didn't have to worry as much about the characters. And yeah, so that's been really nice and uplifting, and I think I'm gonna enjoy having this reading vlog of just like reading these really good romance books. I will say this is fantastic so far. I am eating it up. I love the characters. I love how realistic the relationship feels, because everything that's happened so far is exactly how I think real people would react to the situation and what they've been through. They are not rushing into anything. They are taking their time and really getting to understand each other. And knowing that they've come from this like past traumatic event when it comes to relationships, neither one of them are like rushing, and I think that's so good. They are really building out this friendship first that just, you know, is undeniable chemistry between the two, and I am loving it. I didn't expect to love it this much. Beach Read, when I read it, was like a 4-star book. I can tell you this is a 5-star book. I don't know what the ending could bring that would not make it a 5-star book, but this is a 5-star book so far. It's just everything about it, nothing has made me mad. And there's, most of the time with romance, there's something within it that is making me a little frustrated. And it's normally like miscommunication or something that's just like, if you just talk to each other, you would like resolve the issues that are going on. This one, they are talking to each other. They are understanding that there is events in their past that is making for traumatic responses to relationships, and like telling each other about that and having conversations about healing and what that could look like for them. And that is just, it's so good. So I'm gonna hopefully finish this today. And if I do, that means I allowed like 5 days to read this, and I'm finishing it in 2. So if that tells you anything, I'm flying through this and really, really loving it. So I am going to continue reading probably while I work today. And then I have to take my daughter to her ENT appointment. So maybe I will take her like little tablet so she can play on that, so that way I can listen to my audiobook and not have to worry about, you know, entertaining her with music and such. So I think that is the plan today, and I will most likely be wrapping this up and letting you know my final thoughts later. So yeah, it's been great. So last night I finished Funny Story by Emily Henry. I loved it. I wanted to kind of sleep on it so that way I can kind of gather my thoughts this morning to give you more of an in-depth rundown of what I thought about this book. So that's why you didn't get the update last night versus today. This really is just probably one of, if not my favorite romance book that I've ever read. I don't typically enjoy romance contemporary, specifically contemporary. I have a fun time reading them, but there's something that I never like fully give like a very high rating to, just because it's not something that interests me all the time. But this one just, I don't know, there's something about it that was so, so good. So this is about Daphne, who is engaged to Peter, and Peter decides on his bachelor party night that he is actually in love with his childhood best friend, and ends up hooking up with her and deciding together that they're gonna both dump their respective significant others and be together. So she wakes up the next morning, and he basically is coming in and saying it's over. And she then ends up rooming with the only person that she knows, and that is Miles, who is the childhood best friend's ex. So they have this unlikely duo going together, and both kind of healing together from this trauma of what they've been through. And the unlikely friendship that they like form is one of my favorite things. I love them together, and just the way that everything about this feels so natural. Most of the time, why I don't like romance contemporary books is they can be very cringy, and I just get frustrated. And there wasn't any point that I got frustrated in this, and which is really nice because everybody felt like very true to themselves and very true to what you would be feeling if you were in this situation. And I think that's pretty rare. It's a slow burn, which I love. It's opposite like personalities really balancing each other out, which I love. They both have this childhood trauma that they are working out and kind of seeing how it has affected them in their adult life, and how they're kind of learning to adapt and move on from that and heal from that. And that was really special to read as well. And it's just, everything about this was just good. The humor and the banter, of course, Emily Henry is known for that. And her dialogues are always spot on to where they're just super enjoyable. I will say that maybe some of the things that you might not like about this is it is a slower start. It takes a while to build up the story. Which I personally love in a slow burn romance, but some people that, can take forever and it can drag on out. And there's less tension, and like there's no big conflict within this book. The conflict happens, on page 5. And then from there, it's more of a character and relationship dynamic exploration, which I really, really enjoyed. But if you're looking for twists and turns and stuff to happen that you don't expect to happen, then this is not the book for you. So overall, this is a 5-star book for me. I loved it, and I cannot wait to continue on reading her other books. I am starting Happy Place and reading that one. I will say that with this one being a 5-star, and I was talking to my husband last night, I was like, what happens if I have multiple 5 stars in a vlog? Because then, you don't particularly, like, I can still pick my favorite of the 2 or 3 or, etc. But I think I want to go ahead and make a grading square for any 5-star read that I read in these vlogs. And I can still tell you my favorite of the 2, because obviously you can still rank compared to each other. But if Happy Place or People Meet on Vacation ends up being a 5-star also, I do want to go ahead and make a grading score for those. So I am going to go ahead and make a grading score for this one. And then we'll see if any of the other ones end up earning a grading score also. So that is it. And let's cut on over to Happy Place by Emily Henry. I am starting Happy Place by Emily Henry now. I am looking forward to this one. I'm not sure if I'm going to like it as much as Funny Story, just because I don't know if I'm a huge fan of fake dating, even though that was like slightly in Funny Story. It wasn't really in Funny Story. So we're going to see how this one goes. I think it's interesting to have a couple that is established relationship that break up and then come back together, is assuming how this goes. I don't know that for sure. But I wanted to go ahead and hop on and give kind of my initial thoughts of this before I get started. And I'm going to go curl up with my daughters and help them get to sleep and read a little bit tonight. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and give my early update to this. Hello, I am doing a face mask and having a reading night, but I wanted to update you on Happy Place by Emily Henry. I am about 35-ish, 40% of the way through. And this one's definitely frustrating me a little bit more just because I feel like the author is intentionally leaving out information so you don't understand why these two people are not together. There definitely seems like there's some sort of issue that's happened in the past and you're slowly going back in time and kind of reliving their happy moments. Coming up to this week vacation that they're on with their friends where they're still pretending like they're together. And therefore it's really, I don't know, there's a lot of almost miscommunication and but it's almost like miscommunication between the story and the reader. So I don't know how much I'm loving it yet. I feel like I could still love it because it's really easy to read. And for the most part, I enjoy the characters. So, yeah, I'm just kind of waiting to see if it stops making me frustrated. So, yeah, I'm hoping to get a good chunk of this done tonight. I am reading these books a lot faster than I thought I was going to because I've only started this one last night and I'm already almost halfway done. So I am considering possibly adding Book Lover to the mix of just completely catching up with Emily Henry, because I did find it on Libby for it has a 2-week hold, and typically it doesn't take that full time to actually get the books. So I might go through, and if I finish People We Meet on Vacation and I still have plenty of time before I'm planning on putting out this video, I might add a 4th book because I'm really eating these up and I'm not tired of it yet. If I get to People We Meet on Vacation and I'm just tired of reading the romance genre, then obviously I won't. But as of now, I'm still really enjoying it, having fun with it. I'm just not sure if this is going to be a 5-star book like the first one. So that is the update. I am going to either put on the audiobook and read physically, so that way, it's the immersive reading experience that I really, really love. Or I'm thinking about putting on the audiobook and playing some Sims. And just having a cozy build session on Sims, because that's one of my favorite things to do. So yeah, I don't know which I'm going to do yet. But either way, I'm going to chill with my face mask on because it feels good. I like the peeling ones. And yeah, I think that's the plan.
1. Happy Place, Knott's Harbor, Maine. A cottage on the rocky shoreline with knotty pine floorboards and windows that are nearly always open. The smell of evergreens and brine wafting in on the breeze, and white linen drapes lifting in a lazy dance. The burble of a coffee maker, and that first deep pull of cold ocean air as we step out onto the flagstone patio, steaming mugs in hand. My friends, willowy, honey-haired Sabrina and wisp of a waif Cleo with her tiny silver septum piercing and dip-dyed box braids. My 2 favorite people on the planet since our freshman year at Mattingly College.
Hello, it is time for another update. It's been a couple days since I filmed an update, but I have finished Happy Place by Emily Henry, and this one is a little bit of mixed feelings. There's parts of it I really love, and there's parts of it that annoyed me a bit. Nothing I hated, just nothing that was super on my want to read type of aspects. So this is about Harriet and Wynne, who used to date, and they broke up months ago. And then, but never told their friends. And then their friends want to have this, yearly summer vacation that they go to each year. And they push them to for sure come and attend. So they decide that they are going to hide the fact that they've broke up throughout this week. So that way they can have one last hurrah per se, with all of their friends and everything. And yeah, so the things that I like about this book is that the found family of this is really, really good. I love the friendship group. Emily Henry always does her characters really well. So all of that was really, really cool. I liked the dynamics between all of the friends. I thought the setting and atmosphere was really cute. It's set in this northern Maine town during Lobster Fest. And so just the setting and everything was really, really cute. It had really good vibes and atmosphere to it. And Emily Henry always does really great emotional depth to her books and her characters. They really go in depth of what they're feeling and how that affects them and the relationships. All of that really, really good. What wasn't my favorite is that I didn't feel as invested in this book as I did the first one. I didn't feel as invested in the characters and their relationship as I was in Funny Story. Harriet and Wynne didn't draw me in like Miles and Daphne did. I also got frustrated with the lack of communication within this book because I felt like so much of this book hinges on if they just would have talked through their feelings, both as a couple, but also as the friend group, because there were some issues within the friend group as well that, was kind of brought out and played out, which I thought was really cool to have in a romance novel, not just focused just on the couple, but also their friends around that couple. I thought that was really nice, but so much of it was just lack of communication. If they just would have opened up about how they were feeling and just tell each other, nothing would have been an issue. And I don't particularly like when that is the main point of contention. And I felt like so much of this book, that was the main point of contention. Whereas in Funny Story, there very clearly was no relationship, so they had to build up to it. And they were open and communicating pretty much the whole entire book. So I think having one that was so much communication compared to this one frustrated me quite a lot. And I think because of that, this felt slower of a read. It did take me 2 days longer to read, which is not long at all. I still flew through it, but it did take me a little bit longer to read just because I don't think I was as excited to pick it up and find out what was happening. So final, wrap up thoughts is that I am giving this 3.5 stars. I still really liked it. I still think it's a great written book. I still am glad that I read it, and it's still going to stay on my shelves, but it's not something that, was instant favorite Funny Story was. So that being said, I did go through and crochet my granny skirt for Funny Story, and I'm really happy with it. So I ended up doing this little lemon. I did not get the exact colors because I didn't have them, but you can see I pulled the yellow from the shirts, and then the lemon and the lemon here. The green is almost an exact match, and the orange is pretty close. It's just the blue is a little off, but I'm okay with that. I'm pretty happy with this. This is actually my second one that I made. My first one, I was not super happy with the pattern, and it wants to wrinkle up. So I scrapped this one, and I'm probably gonna frog that at some point, but I do really like this one. So, this is at least the first square of this vlog, with Funny Story being a 5-star read. Unfortunately, this one will not get a square. I was really looking forward to doing a rubber duck granny square, so I was kind of hoping this would be a 5-star, but alas, it was not. But I am rolling into my next book. Let me grab it, which is People We Meet on Vacation. I guess I should add in the cut screen of moving on to this one, and I can tell you what I'm thinking so far. So, people with me on vacation. I am like 6 chapters in. I'm not very far. We are following Alex and Poppy, and they are best friends that for some reason had a falling out. And they used to go on vacation every year together and travel together. And Poppy is a travel blogger, and I think that's probably some of the tension is that at least this is me like hypothesizing, I should say. But I feel like some of the tension and some of the issues that they maybe had with their friendship is that maybe their special time that used to be about the two of them turned into her being constantly posting stuff for her job and kind of making everything that used to be private between them public. So I think that could be some of the issues that maybe play into this. And there definitely seems like there is some feelings that were never said between the two. So that's definitely how I kind of feel like this book is going to go as far as that dynamic goes. I really like the characters within this. It's very much Grumpy and Sunshine type of trope. There's also like already, it's going to be friends to lovers. I know that going in. There's already like a shared bed scenario that I can see coming on because of the like vacation rental place ended up like not being exactly what they thought it was going to be. And so there's definitely going to be this like forced proximity, like one bed scenario type thing. I do like that actually not almost, all 3 of these books have like a past and present type of scenario to it. Which I think is really fun to kind of play with those dynamics of going back when things were good and then going forward to the present and kind of figuring out how that evolves. Happy Place for sure did that, and this is doing that. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. I think I could get connected to the characters more in this just because they naturally align with more things that I like. I like that Alex seems to be on the neurodivergent spectrum. I don't think that it's specifically called out that he is, but he definitely like reads that way, which is really cool to have that kind of representation within this. So I'm definitely looking forward to this one. So far, I am liking it better than Happy Place so far, but we'll see how it goes. And my library hold did come in for Book Lover, so I will be adding that as a 4th book to this, and just go ahead and reading all of Emily Henry's books that are in this genre. I know she has some older ones that I haven't read, but these are like the newer romance books that she's written. I'm going to go ahead and catch up with all the ones that I haven't read yet. So that is the plan, and I'm going to continue listening to this today while I work, and then maybe having some reading time tonight to really try to finish this out, which I'm looking forward to. So that is it for me, and I will see you in the next update. I wanted to give you a quick update on this. I am 3/4, almost 3/4, yes. It's been a day, but I'm 3/4 of the way through this. I am enjoying it. I don't think I'm going to give it 5 stars, but I do think I'm liking it better than Happy Place as of now. I think just in general, the characters are a little bit more intriguing to me in this one. I like the friendship that they have together and what is being built off of that. It does feel a little bit slower in parts, and I don't know if that's just because this is my 3rd one of these in like a week and a half, and that's why it's starting to feel a little bit slower. Maybe I'm just kind of reaching the end of my cycle of reading these, but yeah, I am enjoying this, so I can't wait to go ahead and finish this and see what ends up happening in the last little bit, because I think there's a lot that can still happen in this, which I'm kind of looking forward to see how this all wraps up.
5 summers ago. On vacation, you can be anyone you want. Like a good book or an incredible outfit, being on vacation transports you into another version of yourself. In your day-to-day life, maybe you can't even bob your head to the radio without being embarrassed. But on the right twinkly light-strung patio with the right steel drum band, you'll find yourself whirling and twirling with the best of them. On vacation, your hair changes. The water is different, maybe the shampoo. Maybe you don't bother to wash your hair at all, or brush it, because the salty ocean water curls it up in a way you love. You think, maybe I could do this at home, too. Maybe I could be this person who doesn't brush her hair, who doesn't mind being sweaty, or having sand in all her crevices. On vacation, you strike up conversations with strangers and forget that there are any stakes. If it turns out impossibly awkward, who cares? You'll never see them again. You're whoever you want to be.
All right, so the third book of the romance showdown is done. I have finished People We Meet on Vacation. And so for the main part, this book is about Alex and Poppy, and they are best friends that have vacation together every year for like 10 years. And then something happens and they are no longer speaking. So Poppy has decided to invite Alex for one final vacation to try to figure out what happened and kind of repair that friendship, because she finds that she hasn't been happy since they stopped talking. And so it's all about them kind of repairing this friendship that they had, and also kind of figuring out why that friendship broke in the first place. And of course, this is friends to lovers. It's also like forced proximity, because they're forced to be in this very small hotel, like studio space, that they were not expecting to 100% be the way that it was. And overall, like, I liked this book. I think that the characters and the banter within this and the relationship was more my cup of tea than Happy Place. So I was happy about that. I also thought that this had more emotions to it. I don't know why, but Happy Place, I never got like fully connected into the relationship. Like, it was a good book and I liked the setting and the friendships to the characters. But this one, I like actually was invested in the two main characters getting together, and I wasn't that way in Happy Place. So this one I do like. I gave it 4 stars. I do wish that the front half maybe had a little bit more action or something to get you through it, because it was very slow. It felt super slow, and I just needed more from that. It was too much back and forth between the past and the present, to the point where I was sometimes getting confused on which chapters I was in because they felt too similar. And I just wish there was a little bit more separation between that, and a little bit more difference between how they were interacting and that kind of thing. So, that being said, I did give it a 4 stars. I thought that the last quarter of this book was fantastic. I really, really loved the last quarter of this book. I thought that the emotional payoff and the just connection that the two characters have was fantastic. So that it was going to be a 3-star until that last quarter, and that last quarter really bumped it up to where I did end up liking this more than Happy Place. But right now, Funny Story is in the lead, and I'm going to roll into Book Lovers and see what I think about that. Hello, so I am reading Book Lovers right now. I am 18% of the way through it. I am really, really liking the banter between these characters. It's probably my favorite banter just because they're so snarky, and I really like that. I am getting a little burnt out on this genre though, so I'm definitely glad this is the last book I'm reading in this kind of vlog. So I am hoping to get quite a bit done today. It is the 8th, and I'm really wanting to go ahead and wrap this up this weekend. I am going to play some Sims and listen to my audiobook, and that is the plan for tonight. But yeah, I'm enjoying this one, so I'm hoping that it keeps going the way it's going, because then it could be a real contender. So far it's about Nora and Charlie, and they are like rivals in the book industry. She is someone who basically finds and endorses authors and get them connected to the editors and stuff like that for publishing. And I believe that Charlie's job is he's like an editor, like that house is like an editing house. And so it's his job to kind of figure out what books that they want to take on. And they have a really bad like first impression of each other, and that just kind of sets the tone. They're both known for being, I think she's called the Shark and he's called like the Storm Cloud as like their nicknames, which is pretty funny. But yeah, they just really butt heads, and the banter between them is so much fun. They end up in this small town, and that's where the story kicks off. I haven't got too far into it, but so far like I said, the character banter and everything has been fantastic. So I am going to pop on my headphones and play some Sims and see how much of this I can get read. Hello, I wanted to go ahead and check in. I'm like halfway, actually I'm probably like 60% of the way through Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is one that I don't have the physical book for yet. It might be getting here very soon. It might get here by the time this blog ends. I don't know. But I'm wholly reading it on audiobook this time versus reading like a mix of the two and doing the more immersive reading style, which I really enjoy. Apparently my cat is yelling from the other room. But I wanted to go ahead and check in about how I'm feeling halfway through this, a little more than halfway through this. I am really loving this one. I'm really connecting with the characters and the banters. I think that Charlie and Nora's vibe is so good. I love that they really just did not like each other at their first meeting and just thought each other's were assholes, and how they're kind of developing past that, and the chemistry and the banter and the wit and the comebacks and snarkiness between them two is so funny. I also really like the kind of setting between both of them being, New Yorkers who love New York, but yet they're in this small town for different reasons, and the kind of play between that, and how tongue-in-cheek the book is, both as the characters but also as Emily Henry being like, I know that you've read, or seen tropes like this, and kind of turning them into like conversations about them, because Nora, being a literary agent, like she compares her life to all of these romance books, and how all the guys in her past that she's dated has basically went off to these small towns and found the loves of their lives and dumped her for it, and that kind of thing. And so kind of taking that and turning it on its head is really interesting, and being like, I know you know what's coming, but yet I'm still gonna give it to you, type thing. So I really like that, and I didn't expect to like that. I also really like the kind of dynamic that Nora has with her family in the past that she's had. And I think that kind of depth is kind of what was missing from Happy Place and People We Meet on Vacation. Because both of those, like the emotional depth, felt lower stakes than what this one and Funny Story has. I think that they both have these characters that have past issues that they really have to work on and kind of look at, and really understand how that's affecting them. And People We Meet on Vacation had that to an extent, and Happy Place had it to an extent, but not to the extent that how many times did I say extent? Not to the place that Book Lovers and Funny Story has. Or maybe I'm just connecting with that more in these. I also like that Nora's focus is so much on her sister because of her past and what her sister is going through and that kind of thing. And we're just now getting into what the sister might be going through. And so all of that really is cool dynamics. I also like that she is so against the chemistry with Charlie and just does not want it at all. And so that really makes another like twist on it, because so many times like the characters don't want it for a particular reason, and that reason always feels like very like not understanding, whereas I can kind of understand where she's coming from of not wanting to you know, be in this relationship. Not that Charlie's a bad guy, it's just that, you know, their connection and the fact that they have a professional relationship that they have to maintain. Like, I can understand not wanting to mess around with that because it is your livelihood and that kind of thing, and so much of that is important to this character. I also really liked some of the side characters we're getting, so overall it's just been a really fun read. It's definitely been a pickup from the last two, because I was afraid I was getting super burnt out, and maybe it's just those two weren't for me. So this one I am really, really digging. At this point, the emotional depth is definitely creeping in more, and I cannot wait to see what Emily Henry does with these characters and like how they kind of come about the change that is going to make everything work. So I'm gonna get back to reading this and hopefully finish that up sometime today or tomorrow is the plan. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get off here, and you'll see me in the next update. So we are at our final clip of this video. I have officially finished all of the books for this vlog. I just wrapped up Book Lovers by Emily Henry last night, and I ended up really, really enjoying this one. I thought that the emotional payoff and connection that these two characters had was so good. I even, like, there was a part of me that felt like this could have had a completely different ending that would have been wild for an Emily Henry book. It did not, but that would have been a cool, like, twist on it that I would not have expected. I would have hated it, but I also would not have expected it, and therefore would have loved it. But it did alas, it did not end that way. But I'm trying to talk about it without too much spoilers, if you cannot tell, because I don't want to spoil the book for anybody. But I ended up really, 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 really loving this book. So it's a 5-star read, which therefore means that it got a Granny Square. So I decided to do something slightly different. Like for funny story, I did this because of the lemon and all the lemons on the cover of the book. I thought it tied in nicely, but I don't want a ton of like imagery motifs on my sweater unless it makes sense. And for book lovers, like there's not anything that's like super stand out as for it other than the colors. And I really liked this kind of like grid aspect. So I decided to do a standard Granny Square that had a spike crochet that kind of blended out the colors. So I did the white for the title, the red for the little coffee cup, the orange, yellow, and the navy for like all of the different colors here in that. And then I got my closest blue that I could to the cover blue. So I do really, really like this square. I think it's super visually engaging. And yeah, I might end up using this to do a project in the future, because it wasn't any harder to do than just a normal Granny Square. It was just adding in the spike down. And I could see it making a really cool gradient. Granny Square would be really, really nice with that. So that being said, I do have 2 Granny Squares from this vlog, which is exciting. And yeah, I cannot believe it. So I'm going to go ahead and go through all of the Emily Henry books and kind of give you a ranking of my favorite to least favorite. And yeah, and I think that's going to kind of wrap up this video. So my favorite book of the Emily Henry ones that I read for the vlog is Funny Story. This is still my favorite. I don't know if it's because it's the first one I read that it just really hit differently, but I don't know if I would have read this one first, if this would have been my favorite, but for now, this is number 1, and this is number 2. Very close first and second. Number 3 falls in quite a bit behind that, and that is People We Meet on Vacation. These are both 5 stars. This is probably a 3.75, 4-star book. And then from there, I went ahead and included this one just because I have read it and it's basically finishes off the set, and that is Beach Read. I would give this like a 3.25 kind of range of rating. And then in last place is Happy Place, which I gave a 3-star. So, I mean, even a 3-star is not bad. That's still a very enjoyable book, and I had a fun time reading it. It's just, it's doesn't live up to the hype and the love of this one. So those are kind of my two ends of a spectrum. So that is it. I cannot believe that I read 4 books in like a week and a half. But that's where we're at. It's the 12th of February and I read 4 books in basically 12 days. So, yeah, I'm very excited. I hope you enjoy this vlog. If you've read any of these books this month because of the love of the season, let me know. I know that these typically get read during the summer, but I thought it was really fun to read them for Valentine's Day and kind of have like a summer vacation vibe in the middle of winter. Was very nice, especially with how awful Tuesday's weather has been this season. So, that is it for me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, comment down below which is your favorite of Emily Henry's books. And I'll see you in the next video. Happy reading, stay cozy, stay crafty. Bye!